You're looking in the wrong places. That's why you keep meeting the same type of women over and over. Bars, clubs, dating apps. You're fishing in a pond when there's an ocean you don't even know exists. Rich women don't hang out where you think they do. And even if you found the right places, most of you wouldn't know how to get in or what to do once you're there. 5 categories of locations. Some you can walk into today. Others take a plan. But all of them beat wasting another weekend at a bar where you're competing with 50 other guys for the attention of 3 women who aren't even interested. The hardest place to access isn't always where the richest women are. Sometimes, the best opportunities are hiding in plain sight, which is exactly what I'm revealing at the end. Let's start with the most obvious mistake guys make. You think rich women go to expensive bars and nightclubs? You're wrong. Those places are for people who want to be seen spending money. Rich women don't need to prove anything to strangers. High-end bars and clubs are full of guys exactly like you, all competing for the same handful of women who showed up that night. The ratio is terrible. The environment is loud and superficial, and nobody's guard is down enough to have a real conversation. Rich women go to bars occasionally, but it's always the same 3 places they trust with the same group of friends, and they're not there to meet anyone. They're there because it's familiar and safe. You're an interruption, not an opportunity. Here's what one woman told me. If a guy approaches me at a club, I already know he approached 5 other women before me. I'm just a number. Why would I take that seriously? So where do they actually go? Places where the environment does half the work for you. Art gallery openings, wine tastings, museum fundraisers, charity galas. These are not tourist attractions. These are social ecosystems where rich women show up regularly and they're expecting to meet new people. The setup is perfect. Everyone's standing around, the music is low enough to talk, there's an automatic conversation starter, the art, the wine, the cause. You're not cold approaching. You're participating in the same cultural experience she is. And here's the key. These events attract women who value culture and sophistication over flashy displays of wealth. They're not impressed by your car or your watch. They want to know if you can hold an intelligent conversation about something that isn't work or sports. Most of these are lower barrier than you think. Gallery openings are often free. Wine tastings and museum memberships cost about what you'd blow on bottle service anyway, except you're actually meeting people instead of shouting over bass. But don't show up looking like you're there to network. Rich women can smell desperation from across the room. You're there because you actually care about art, wine, or the cause. At least, that's the story your presence needs to tell. One woman said this, "I can tell within 30 seconds if a guy is there because he belongs or because he's hunting. The guys who belong aren't working the room, they're actually looking at the art." And if you think cultural events are the only option, you're missing the most consistent places rich women show up every single week. Country clubs, yacht clubs, equestrian centers, private golf courses. This is where wealthy people spend their recreational time. And it's not just about the activity, it's about the community. These places are ecosystems. The same people show up every week. Everyone knows each other, and new faces get noticed immediately, in a good way. If you're there, you're already vetted by the membership process. You're one of them. Most people think country clubs are off limits due to 5-figure initiation fees. But you don't need a membership. You need a point of entry. Golf with a friend who has access. Attend an event as someone's guest. Take riding lessons at an equestrian center that rich families use. Join a sailing club that has reciprocal access to yacht clubs. Once you're in, even as a guest, The key is to become a regular. Show up often enough that people start recognizing you. Join a league, take lessons, volunteer for club events. Familiarity breeds trust, and trust leads to introductions. And here's what you need to understand. These environments are slow burns. Nobody's hooking up at the country club. You're building relationships over months, getting introduced to people's daughters, sisters, friends. It's social access, not a singles bar. One guy I know joined a golf league at a mid-tier club and got introduced to his now wife within 3 months. Her father was a member, invited him to play in a charity tournament, and the rest happened naturally. But if country clubs feel out of reach, there's a type of venue that's way more accessible and just as effective. High-end fitness studios, Equinox, SoulCycle, Barry's Boot Camp, boutique Pilates and yoga studios in wealthy neighborhoods. Rich women are obsessive about fitness, and they go to the same classes at the same time every week. This is one of the easiest ecosystems to infiltrate. Memberships cost $200 to $300 per month. You show up, take the class, and you're in. No background check, no referrals, just pay and show up consistently. The magic is in the routine. When you see the same people 3 times a week at 6 a.m. spin class, you naturally start talking. It's low pressure, there's a built-in conversation starter, the workout, and everyone's endorphins are high, guards are down. And here's the advantage most guys don't realize. You're one of the only men there. Fitness classes skew 70 to 80% women, and most of the men who do show up are either gay or already in relationships. You're a novelty, just by being a straight, single guy who's serious about fitness. But you have to actually take the classes seriously. Don't show up once and start chatting everyone up. That's creepy. Show up 3 times a week for a month. Become a regular. Nod at people. Make small talk after class. Let familiarity build, naturally. One woman told me, "I've dated 2 guys I met at my Pilates studio. Both times, I noticed them for weeks before we ever talked. They were just always there, working hard, not bothering anyone. That's attractive." And look, if you're finding actual value in these locations I'm breaking down, do me a favor and hit the like button. Most guys will watch this, nod along, and never actually go to any of these places. The like tells me you're different. You're actually going to use this. And drop a comment telling me which location you're trying first. I'm curious where you're starting. Now, if fitness studios and country clubs sound like too much effort, there's a category of places that require almost no commitment, but give you access to the exact women you're trying to meet. Professional networking events, industry conferences, speaker series in high-income industries, finance, tech, real estate, law, medicine. These events are full of successful women, and they're specifically designed for meeting new people. The environment does the work for you. Everyone's exchanging business cards, asking what you do, making connections. It's not a social event pretending to be professional. It's a professional event where social connections happen naturally. Access is straightforward. Most events are $50 to $200 per ticket, and they're open to anyone. You don't need to work in the industry. You just need a reason to be interested in it. Investor, consultant, entrepreneur, curious professional. Nobody's checking credentials at the door. But here's the key. You have to bring value to the conversation. Rich women at professional events are there to network, not to be hit on. If you're asking intelligent questions and contributing to discussions, you're memorable. If you're clearly just there to meet women, you're invisible. One guy I know attends real estate investor meetups, even though he's not a real estate investor. He's genuinely interested in the market, asks smart questions, and has met multiple women worth dating. His approach? I treated it like I was there to learn, not to hunt. The connections happen naturally. The long game here is that these events happen monthly or quarterly. You become a familiar face in a specific professional community, and introductions happen organically over time. But if you want the absolute highest concentration of wealthy, attractive, available women in one place, there's a category of location that beats everything else I've mentioned. Travel destinations where rich people vacation, not tourist traps. Specific resorts, ski towns, beach destinations that wealthy people return to year after year. Aspen, Vail, Whistler, Nantucket, the Hamptons, Tulum, certain Caribbean islands. These aren't random vacation spots. They're seasonal communities where the same people show up every year and everyone's in vacation mode. Guards are down, people are social, and meeting new people is expected. The advantage is massive. You're away from normal life, there's automatic novelty, and the environment is designed for leisure and connection. You're not competing with her routine or her friend group. You're a new experience in a place where new experiences are the whole point. Access requires planning. You need to stay in the right areas, not the budget hotels, but not the ultra-luxury resorts either. Mid to high-end places where successful professionals stay. Airbnbs in the right neighborhoods work too. And you need to be there during the right season. Ski towns in winter, beach destinations in summer, or specific holiday weeks. Do your research. Find out when the wealthy crowd shows up and be there. The key is to look like you belong. Don't be the guy with the camera taking photos of everything. Don't ask where the rich people hang out. Just be there, doing the activities, eating at the right restaurants, and letting natural interactions happen. One woman told me, "I've had more meaningful connections on vacation in 2 weeks than I've had in my city in 2 years." Everyone's relaxed, nobody's in work mode, and if you meet someone interesting, you actually have time to get to know them. But here's what most guys get wrong. They go to these places for a weekend, don't meet anyone, and leave thinking it doesn't work. This isn't a weekend strategy. You need to be there for at least a week, ideally longer. Familiarity matters, even on vacation. Now that you know where rich women actually are, the next question is how to talk to them once you're there. Next video, I'm breaking down conversation topics that signal you're worth their time, and the specific phrases that make you memorable instead of forgettable. Click the video on screen and subscribe, because each of these builds on the last. You need the whole system. See you there.